Hello, everyone. If you could hear me, put yes in the chat. If you could hear me, put yes in the chat. Put yes in the chat. I'll wait for a yes just to make sure. If you could hear me, put yes in the chat. All right, perfect. So welcome to day 4 of the LinkedIn Masterclass. So we've had 4 days of learning since Tuesday. And today we will be learning how to leverage LinkedIn live video events for your personal brand and why they're so important to the equation, especially if you're a founder or business owner that's looking to actually get clients. So to turn some of your connections into clients. And so I want to get a read of the room. If you have ever done a live video on LinkedIn, put 1 in the chat. And if you have never done a live video event on LinkedIn, put 2 in the chat. So 1 if you have, 2 if you have not. Just so I could get a read of the room. Okay. And for those of you who have, just how often have you done them or how often are you doing them now? And then we'll go from there. Okay. So the first thing that I'll say, and this is going to be across the board, is that to stand out in 2025, you will not just have to be consistent, but actually create good content. This is because as more people enter and start to market themselves, not just on LinkedIn, but on social media in general, the number of competitors goes up, and then you have to actually get really good to stand out. Which is why one of the greatest blue oceans that you could leverage in general is learning how to go live on video. Because, and if you agree with this, put yes in the chat. Because when you ask yourself, how many of my competitors are doing text posts? It's probably a lot of them by this point. How many of them are posting videos at least once a week or maybe twice a week? It's probably an okay number. It's at least a handful of your competitors. But when you ask yourself how many of your competitors are actually hosting live video events on LinkedIn consistently, that number drastically goes down. And if you agree with this, put yes in the chat. I want to just see the consensus. So we have to realize that if we want to increase our chances of differentiating ourselves, of proving that we know what we're talking about, of building a community that actually, is built off of how you really are, them knowing your voice, answering questions, and being able to interact, then live video has to be part of that equation. And so if LinkedIn if your personal brand on LinkedIn were standing on a tripod, one of those legs would have to be live video events. Okay. Now, the bonus of doing this on LinkedIn is that built into the platform, you can invite 4,000 of your first degree connections every single month to your live video events. Okay. Now, to be able to do this, you need to have at least 4,000 first degree connections. But even if you have 1,000 today, that means that whatever number of first degree connections you have, they can be invited to your live video events. And we're going to go through that entire process today so you can see how it's done. But what this does is that it increases the chances of people actually showing up live. Not only that, it will provide you with a list of people that are interested in whatever topic your live video event is about, even before you actually go live. So if I did a live video event and it was, how to, let's say like the 10 AI tools to use in your personal brand, everyone that would be clicking, yes, I want to go to that event and be on the attendee list, what do I know about them? I know that number one, they're active on LinkedIn. Okay. I know number two, that they are interested in building their personal brand. I know number three, that they're open to AI. And that's before I even go live. I have a list of their names and I can message them and things like that. So even before the live video event happens, there's tremendous value in understanding this strategy and deploying it consistently. Now, one of the questions that I'll get when we're talking about this topic is, well, how often should I go live? And the answer to that is, I would say at minimum twice a month. So at minimum twice a month, and ideally build up to once a week. Now, when I say go live, I don't mean eating chicken wings in your pajamas like you see a lot of people do on Instagram. No shade to Instagram, but it's true. It's just a different platform. And I also don't mean that you have to change the world with a Nobel Peace Prize presentation for 3 hours. So it's a 20-minute presentation of you speaking and proving your expertise. You could literally just be answering one question and going into depth. And when we're talking about live video events, a lot of, if you're in a building phase of your business where you're looking to get clients, then those live video events, the title, what you present, the messaging, the examples that you use should all be based off of the type of top 20% clientele that you want to attract. They should only speak to those people. I want you to ignore everybody else. Your lives should not be for the masses. They should be for exactly who you want to become a client. They should prove your expertise. They should be the tipping point for someone to book that consultation, for someone to register for that masterclass or that webinar, or for someone to buy your book or whatever it is that you're selling. I should not leave your live event or live video event wondering whether you actually know what you're talking about or not. It should be very clear to me that you're the expert that you say that you are. Does this make sense? Put one in the comments if this makes sense. Now, put one in the comments. Okay. I'll wait for a few of you. And if you're open to doing this, if this is making sense, then put yes in the comments. I wanted to kind of just give you that initial understanding before we go through the process. Okay. Now, the thing to understand about, how do you prepare for this? What makes a great live video event, whatever, is that your live event started 2 weeks ago. So if you're going to start, let's say the first or second week in January, there's no reason why you should not create the event on LinkedIn through the process that I'm about to show you today, why you should not start inviting people, why you should not start preparing your outline and maybe even practicing going through the outline 2-3 weeks in advance. So what you don't want to do is say, oh, I'm an expert, I'm going to wing it. Because that opens a lot of space for potential tech mishaps and you not actually looking like the expert that you really are. Okay? So I want to and I'll show you exactly how to prepare, how to set it up, and how to promote it. And yesterday we went through one of those ways, which is through using the LinkedIn newsletter GPT for the promotional newsletters to get people to your lives. All right. So if you're ready for me to start to show you how to set up the live and go through that process, click, put start in the chat, and I'll go through the entire process. And then from there, we'll talk about actual preparation, how to actually do them, why you should probably do them solo a majority of the time, and all of those things. Okay. So the one thing to understand is that LinkedIn is different than, let's say, Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, because you can't go into the app and you can't click a live red button. So there is no native way from LinkedIn to just start going live from your couch or wherever. You have to use a third-party platform. The two platforms that I recommend using are StreamYard.com or Restream.io. Restream.io, they both basically do the same thing. They allow you to stream. Like right now I'm using StreamYard, but Restream is a little bit less expensive. But just understand that with StreamYard, you could get the local recording. And I'll explain why that's important. If I am live and my internet connection starts to get a little fuzzy and, whatever, then I go to get the recording, the entire thing can be blurry. And now I can't potentially use that live for short video clips and stuff like that. What StreamYard will give you is, even if your Wi-Fi is faulty, you have a couple of places where your stream gets glitchy, it will give you the local file recording, and that should never be blurry. All right. So those are the two that I recommend, and that will really give you the best chance of not having any tech difficulties at all. So I'm going to show you. This is my StreamYard dashboard. It's free to sign up, but once you get to get the actual recordings, you're going to need a paid account. Restream, StreamYard, their dashboards are pretty much the same. And then to set up your LinkedIn Live event in advance, because you're going to be prepared, you will first you'll click destinations. And these are all the destinations that you can connect to. Now, if you're on a free account, like you just want to stream, then you can only connect one destination as far as what I'm aware of. And you want to connect your LinkedIn profile, which is your personal profile, not your LinkedIn company page. Okay. So you'd go into your LinkedIn profile, put your password and all of that. And then when you go to destinations, you'll just see your LinkedIn. If you have other social media platforms, you'll be able to connect them as well if you want. Now, then you would click home, and then you'll click live stream. Okay. Now, once you click live stream, you will click your LinkedIn face down here, and then you will scroll down. There is no need, if you're going to use StreamYard or Restream, there is no need for you to create the event on LinkedIn first, and then to also come back to the platform and recreate the event. I do not advise that, because it could lead to a lot of mishaps, or people double creating events or connecting the wrong one that doesn't have any attendees. Like, I've seen a lot of mess ups. So all you'll do is you originally create it in StreamYard. Then all you have to do here is put the title. So 10 AI tools to build your personal brand. And then you're going to click schedule for later, and you will scroll down. Okay. Then it says scheduled start time, and it'll say today and a time. All you have to do is click today. It's a little bit non-intuitive. Some people get confused here. So you'll click today, and let's say that I'm going to do this on the 27th. So that's 2 weeks from today, which is the least amount of time that I would suggest. So I'll do this, let's say the 27th, and I'll say I'm going to do it at 9 a.m., for example, 9 a.m. ET, or we'll do 10 a.m. ET. Then I will need a thumbnail. Now, yesterday when we did the newsletters, remember that you have, if you buy the bundle, you'll also get the Canva template for the LinkedIn thumbnail. So all I'm going to do is go back here and I'm going to use the template. And, you know, since this is already here, I could say 10 AI tools to grow your personal brand. I could even do 10 AI tools I use to grow my personal brand. And then I could change the font up here if I really wanted to. I can make this a little smaller. Okay. And then I could download it. Okay, so it's downloaded. Now all I'll have to do is go to StreamYard and upload the thumbnail. And then I just have to click apply. So once I click this blue button here, this should pop up on my LinkedIn and be a live video event that is for the 27th at 10 a.m. So I'm going to click create live stream. And to confirm that, we will go to my LinkedIn. All right. Going to go to my profile. And here you see on activity here, I can click more and I could click events. I could also, and I could see that the event is there. I could also click posts and I could see that it's here. So either way that you want to do it, right? So I'll click the post. And then I see, wow, like it magically just transferred to my LinkedIn. So now on Shanae's profile under events, there is a 10 AI tools to build your personal brand. The way that I increase my chances of success for this event is I use the powerful features that LinkedIn has built in, which is being able to invite 1,000 people every single week, up to 4,000 a month. I can do that because I have more than 4,000 first degree connections, okay? So if I want to invite people to my event, I just have to click share, and then the first option is invite. So I could click invite, and I could invite people individually. So let's say I want to invite Sean Carr, and let's say that I want to invite Alfred. Those two people individually. I could click them, and then I want to invite Charles. I could click those people, and then I could click invite. I know that it worked because if you see here at the bottom left, very small, it says 3 people invited to your event. So you always want to look at whether you see this. I mean, they technically should make it bigger and like in the middle of the screen, but it'll pop up here. If there's any error, it'll be red, but it did work. Obviously, you may not have the time to individually select 1,000 people. So there are certain filters that you can do, and then you could do like a mass selection. So I'm going to click share again, and I'm going to click invite. Now, let's say that for some reason I'm like a real estate person or an insurance person or a finance person, and I could only serve clients in the US. One of the filters that I could have is location. So I could click United States. So what that will do is that will make a list of all my connections that are in the US. And let's say that I only serve people in, manufacturing or something, or technology. I can click the industry. If the industry is not here, I could also click like health, and then you'll see like the sub industries here that pop up. So let's just say that I do like professional services, and I sell to professional service people, and that they have to be in the US. So I'll click show results. And then once you do a filter, so I'm going to do this one more time. If I clear this, you see that there's no top left checkbox for me to do a mass invite. But once I select a filter like professional services or location, it will have a top left checkbox for me to mass invite. Now, if I click this top left checkbox, it will select 50 people, and then I could invite the 50. This is where most people get a little confused. But what I have to do, it's a little bit tedious, but again, you're able to increase your chances of people showing up live. So what I have to do is I just have to scroll down. And as I scroll, like the next 50 unlock. And there's no faster way to make a list. You can't save a lead list of the people that you want to pre-invite every week. I have no idea when they're going to update this feature, because these are just a lot of the questions that we receive once people start realizing like this is how it's done. There's no automatic way to do this. And it also only takes 5 minutes once you know what you're doing. So now that I've scrolled down a bit, I can click this again. Instead of 50 people, we have 220, right? And then all I would do is I would continue to scroll down until I reach like about 900 or something. And then I could send my invites for the week. So to confirm that this worked, I'll click invite 220. And we know that it worked because here we are, 220 people invited to events. Now, one of the things is that you don't want to do this I don't want to now leave the session and then invite 220 people tomorrow, and then on Sunday invite 100. If you're going to send your 1,000 invites, send them in one session, because if I send 220 today, that means that next Friday, I could only send 220 to the following event. It will only unlock like within the 7-day period. And then you kind of have to be like sending a little bit of at a time, and that gets annoying and it's harder to track. So if you're going to do this like every 2 weeks or every week, I would just put a time on your calendar where you just do the 1,000 and, get it out of the way, so to speak. Now, once I've refreshed this, as you can see here, Shankar and 2 other people are already saying that, they're attending. And I could see it's me, it's Shankar, who's a 1st-degree connection, and then it's Renata, who is a 2nd-degree connection. All right. So I get a list of people that are saying, hey, Shanae, I'm interested in learning about, number 1, AI tools. I'm also interested in growing my personal brand, and I'm very active on LinkedIn because I just accepted this invite. And if I wanted to now connect with Renata, all I would have to do is like click her LinkedIn profile and say like, hey, saw you're coming to the events about AI tools. Let's connect, right? So this is how you would do that. And I'll look at the questions. Now, how else can you promote this event? What we showed yesterday, which is now I could also, let's say tomorrow, I could publish a newsletter using the LinkedIn newsletter promotion GPT. And then I could say, hey, in 7 days or whatever, in 14 days, I'm having my last masterclass of the year, which is 10 AI tools to grow your personal brand. I'm going to show all the AI tools that I use that I think are the most worth it, and probably the most worth it for you as well. And I'll share why and all that stuff. Click the link to attend the upcoming LinkedIn Live event, right? And that's how I could use my newsletter to get more people to this live event, because remember, the only people that I could directly invite on this list are people that are 1st-degree connections. And even if someone has 1 million followers, they only have 30,000 first degree connections, and they could still only use 1,000 invite credits a week. So another question I get from people usually is like, can I buy more of these invite credits and all that stuff? I mean, there's certain like ad stuff that you could do on company pages, but we won't get into that. And the other kind of sub answer to that is, if you do this in advance, if you choose a topic that your audience resonates with, and if you invite the people in advance, then like you should get enough leads from this 1,000 people, and you should be able to deliver with your presentation in such a way that you should get interest, especially if you're going to do it weekly or bi-weekly, like every other week, consistently. If you're getting people to your live events but nothing's happening, then it's a presentation problem, or it's a topic choice problem, that it's just they're not interested, it's not resonating, whatever. So there are certain things that need to be kind of looked at along the way. Now we have, in part of the GPT bundle, as you can see here, we have a LinkedIn live event GPT. Okay, so it says this GPT helps you create an outline for your upcoming live video. All you have to do is click hi, and then it says, hi there, I'm here to help you design a compelling LinkedIn live event. Because one of the things that you want when you show up live is to actually be prepared with an outline, with notes. You should not be winging it, because if you wing it, and this is very important for everyone to understand, you could crush, or you could be all over the place. And if you're all over the place, then your transcript is not going to be valuable for repurposing, to repurpose. And if you were to repurpose the video asset with short video clips using, let's say, Descript or a tool like Opus, that's also going to be all over the place. So when we think about building personal brand and scalability, the better the live presentations, not just the better the quality of conversions, right? The better the quality of calls, the better the quality of clients that you acquire, but also the better of quality transcript that you could repurpose with these GPT tools, and the better quality short form video clips that you will also get out of this video asset. Does that make sense? Put yes in the chat if that makes sense. Put yes in the chat if that makes sense. Okay. So it says, so let's go through the GPT so you could see kind of what this will produce. And then I'll start answering the questions. So hi there, I'm here to help you design. And by the way, the GPT bundle should be pinned to the top of the comments if you have not purchased it already. So I'm here to help you design a compelling LinkedIn live event. Let's go through a few questions. Ready to get started? Yes. So what's your name? Put my name. What is the one call to action for this live event? I could say go to ugrow.club to register for the upcoming masterclass. And it doesn't have to be that. It could be DM me for the AI tools list. It could be whatever. Got it. Your call to action will be, do you know what you want your live event to be about? Yes. Then I'm going to say 10 AI tools to build your personal brand in 2025. What are the 3 main points that you'll teach or share during the live event? I will share the 10 tools I most use. 2, I will share why I use them. 3, I will share real results from using them. And then I could say like, should I give you the list of tools? Okay, so let me just Claude, Opus, And I'm making this up like on the fly. Tomb fireflies. Just do these. So then it's going to give you like an outline to follow. So the first thing is introduction. And as you can see here, it starts with appreciation. As you could also see here, it's singular language. So one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they go live is, hello, everyone. Hey, everyone. Or, oh, wait, we're just going to wait around and wait for everyone to show up. Never do that. You want to start on time, because when you start on time, you're rewarding the people that actually made the time to be there, put it on their schedule, and showed up on time, instead of rewarding everyone who's late. So this is why checking your tech in advance is really important. Starting on time is really important. And starting with singular, because even if there's 1 million people on the live, it's still one person watching at a time, and the message should be for them. So you should start the live with, I appreciate you so much for being here today. My name is Shanae Murray, and I'm excited to share the 10 AI tools that will not be a waste of your money or time, and that I use to build my personal brand, and that I also suggest you use in 2025, whatever. And I changed it to 8 because I gave it 8. And then it will include your call to action in a way that is very brief, so that you're not going on this like 5-minute pitch monologue, especially in the beginning, but that you're still dispersing your call to action throughout the live event, so that if I jump in 5 minutes into it, or if I jump out 10 minutes from the end, I still hear your call to action once or twice. Because what most people do is they'll leave their call to action for the last 30 seconds, and then you have to ask yourself how many people listened to the last 30 seconds. So most of them didn't even hear a call to action. So it will disperse the call to action. Like if at any point during this live you resonate with what I'm sharing, please go to ugrow.club, and I could say to register for the upcoming AI masterclass and blah, blah, blah. The main points, so it'll say the tools that I have to share. I could even get it a little context of how I use each of these tools and what I want to say, and it will put it in. Why I chose the tools, and then I could ask engaging questions, and then again, pause to invite viewers to visit. It makes sure that you're pausing and you're leading people to the call to action again. You know, why these tools work for me, I have to tell it, but it's keeping you on track, because the last thing that you want to do is be all over the place, or stop your live and say, hey, Sally, I'm going to answer your question. Answer the questions at the end, because if you just stop your presentation and start answering random questions, number one, the questions may not be relevant to what it is that you're talking about right then and there. Number two, it opens the door for you to kind of lose your train of thought or to follow the presentation. And number three, you're disrupting the transcript, the flow of the transcript, and you're also disrupting the flow of the video asset. So now it's going to be harder for AI to grab certain clips, or for your video editor to do it. So you want to leave questions at the end. So it's gonna formulate all of these. And then I could say, hey, please add these details for each of the AI tools and add these results. And it'll give me literally a brief outline, a briefing of what I need to follow to have an engaging LinkedIn Live event, and one that positions me as an expert on LinkedIn. So, you know, we have that tool in the bundle as well. And I'll start answering some questions. Before I do, what I'll do is I'll just review what you get in the bundle one more time, just for if someone jumped in and didn't know. And then I'll start answering all of your questions when it comes to LinkedIn Live video. So when you purchase the bundle, you'll get these AI tools that will help you become more consistent on LinkedIn. They're basically helping you push out text-based content, polls, quotes, write the script for your short form videos in a way that sounds like you by using transcripts. So you'll get the LinkedIn Strategy GPT, which is how to optimize your profile. We had someone purchase the bundle. They used it for their client, and their client got a discovery call that same day. So you could not just use this for yourself, but maybe even if you're doing the work for them, use it with your clients as well. And we got that case study back today. She also was able to close a retainer client, with this. So LinkedIn newsletter GPTs, we went through these yesterday. So this GPT will help you launch your LinkedIn newsletter. This one will create educational style LinkedIn newsletters based on a video transcript that you have, whether that's a masterclass or whatever. We also reviewed yesterday how to get a transcript if you have no videos. And it's really just a matter of picking up your phone with ChatGPT voice and having ChatGPT interview you for about 5 to 10 minutes. And you could start there and start pumping out LinkedIn newsletters today based on your beliefs, your style of language, your voice. Then we also have the live event promotion GPT, which creates the reminder newsletters for your LinkedIn live events or your masterclasses, your YouTube videos, whatever. So again, I could use this GPT to create a reminder for everyone that is a subscriber to my newsletter that says, hey, on December 27th, I'm going to have this LinkedIn live event. Click here to attend, and I'm distributing it through the newsletter to get more attendees. The SEO GPT, and then creating case studies. And then we have the content GPTs, which turns your words based on the context of whatever it is that you throw into it into polls. It selects the best quotes from what you say. And this is actually interesting. Most of my clients are like, I said that. And it's like, these are your words. They're really impressed with it. This will turn anything that you throw into the transcript into text posts that are formatted, in a way that is favorable towards LinkedIn. And then the short video script writer, we use that. And then the LinkedIn outline, the LinkedIn live event outline. You'll also get the Canva template, which we just used. And then you'll also get the Notion content calendar for January. And if you don't use Notion, there's a tutorial on how to use it. And if you don't like the tutorial, you don't want to use Notion, there's a Google version in there as well. For those of you who purchased today before the live ends, because this is the last day of the masterclass, you'll also get access to 4 weeks of the weekly coaching and then one of our AI masterminds, which we do monthly. So in January, we will learn how to build an AI agent and talk about all of that. So that offer is pinned to the top of the comments, and it will be over with by the time the live ends. Okay, so let me get to the questions. And if you have questions about that at all, then put your questions in the comments. I'll try to address them, or you can email support@growthacademy.global and the team will address them. So let me scroll up and start answering questions. Okay. How do you determine what's a LinkedIn live video versus a YouTube video where you're not collecting attendee emails, free value that anyone can watch? So, so neither of them are you getting their emails. I think your question is how do you determine what's going to be a gated webinar where you get their email versus a public live event? Is that what you're asking? If I invite 1,000 people this week, will the platform be sure I'm inviting a different 1,000 people next week, or will it repeat? Same question if people were invited but didn't RSVP. So the platform will it'll resort people. Now that doesn't guarantee anything, right? So what you could do is like you could do certain filters where like this week you invite people mainly from like 3 industries and then next week could be the other 3. But it does like just resort people so that the same people are never at the top. Now, if you invited me to your event and I did not accept, you cannot re-invite me. So I won't be on the list. It'll block me from being re-invited. So I hope that makes sense. Should our live events be one day or multiple? So live video events on LinkedIn should be 20 minutes. Now, how often you do them is really up to you. I highly recommend building up to a point where you do weekly. And when that becomes a breeze, then you could talk about twice a week, but they don't necessarily have to combine like a challenge, right? So like just because I talk about LinkedIn profiles one week doesn't mean that I can't talk about AI the next week. Like they're different topics. And it really, like what those topics are really depends on, again, the strategy from what we learned on Tuesday, which is where are you leading people to? Because if you're leading people to a consultation, then that should be the call to action multiple times in every single one of your lives. If you're leading people to a masterclass, then that should be the call to action. Yes, there are tutorials. So, yes. So the Calgary, like, there's little videos on how to use the GPTs in there and stuff, and how to use Notion and all of that. Also in the weekly coaching, like we just had our first session for those that purchased Tuesday and Wednesday and yesterday. And you could ask, like if you're confused about something, you could just ask me there as well. Do you recommend LinkedIn audio events? LinkedIn is discontinuing audio events. They sent that email probably 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And so the way to do audio will be like basically like going live on video, but not being on the screen. Like if I wanted to remove myself now, hello? You know, it's kind of like this is how you'll have to do it now. And so it won't be interactive like it was kind of with the audio rooms and the bubbles, kind of like Clubhouse style. So Walker, I'll say this. If you do live well, there's nothing that will convert faster. But obviously the caveat there is do live well. And by well, like I should watch your live. I should get experiences that you've had, stories, customer results or customer stories that you've helped people with related to whatever topic it is. That is not easily or readily available for me to Google, right? I should be able to listen to the live, sit back and be like, yeah, this guy's the real deal. If I don't get that, then it's a presentation problem. Because somebody can go live every week and just read off of a script or read off of an article that they get on Google and not really prove anything. Which is why, like, this is truly a skill. You may start that way, but like when I'm working with clients, one of the greatest values that they get from me is sitting with me and then us going over the live. Hey, next live, do this. Change your intro to this. Here we could have added an example. Now next week, we're just getting better and better and better and better and better. What other questions do you have? We have 7 minutes. How do we work with you? Message me on LinkedIn or message support@growthacademy.global if you're interested in becoming a one-on-one client, and then I will call you. And Andrea probably has that in the chat somewhere in terms of support. So it's just support@growthacademy.global. There you go. How does the on-demand course work? On-demand course work. Alma, what do you mean? How's this program helpful if I have a new business in transportation logistics? I assist customers that need their boat or vehicles transported, and I need to build my clientele. Who are your customers? Are they commercial customers or like people that just have one boat? So just in a message. Okay, Sherry, I'll message you. So just for anyone asking like, how is this beneficial? It's just the messaging. Like, who is your customer? What are their titles usually on LinkedIn? Because this is a great example. How do you know if somebody has a boat? They could be a CEO with a boat. They could be a director with a boat. You don't really know if someone has a boat based on their LinkedIn profile, unless like that is their entire business, like they're in a boating business, right? So for someone like Sherry, she has to create content that will get people to raise their hands that have a boat, or she has no idea who they are. Now, how do you get people to raise their hands? You create a newsletter for people that have boats, and that not just have boats. What type of people need to transport that boat, right? So are they transporting it once when they move? Or are these people that like transport their boats every summer, like on a consistent basis? Or they transport certain boats to different homes throughout the year because they have multiple homes? Like, this is the type of context that we come in with. And then, once we understand who the customer is, it's just the same play. It's about creating a newsletter that really speaks to that customer, depending on who it is. And then creating live video, like a live video event that speaks to that customer, to their problems, to all of their like frustrations when it comes to the industry, to solutions that they probably didn't know about, all of that. And then content that also speaks to them. Publishing case studies. Hey, I helped a customer in less than 72 hours transport a 150-foot fishing boat or whatever from Miami to California and with zero problems. Like, that could be a case study. I don't know if that's something that you've done, but like those are the things that need to be published. Yeah, and then Sherry, it's like a lot of the times it's also like, what is the trigger to them? Like, you could say, oh, a lot of my customers, this is the first time they've ever had to move their boat. And then a lot of your content could be around that, right? But maybe it's not. Maybe like they're just unsatisfied with their previous transport people and the boat never gets there in time and they're just looking for someone new. So this is how deep like the understanding of who you're creating content for has to be. And this is what we work with clients. Like, I have to really understand who you serve. What kind of content would you create? And that's something we'll talk about. I'll message you right after the live. What kind of content would you create if your service is about creating AI chatbots for customer support? So it's kind of like, that's hard to know because who is your customer, right? It's less about, so like the theme of what I'm seeing with these questions is like, how do I sell my thing? But it's less about your thing and more about who you sell it to, right? If we understand who you sell it to or who buys it, who's most likely to buy with the least resistance, that's all we need to know to make your content strategy work. And then obviously you have to show up, and go live and do the things. But it's less about what you sell and more about who is your top 20% client. Because the way that one person could sell an AI chatbot, let's say that AI chatbot, they sell specifically to call centers, right? I've had a client who sells AI chatbot. They only sell it to foreign call centers. And usually these call centers have at least a minimum of 50 to 100 employees on each site. So they sell it to like the owners of, call center conglomerates and stuff like that. But that's very different than selling it to a solopreneur who is building their first website, right? The marketing strategy, the messaging, what you would share, the types of videos you would do, the live presentations you would do are completely different worlds. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat if this makes sense. Like again, let's say like in my case, if I was selling LinkedIn to, let's say, college students that hang out on TikTok, my messaging would be completely different than it is now. Because number one, they may or may not know LinkedIn exists. So I have to understand like who my customer is. If they know LinkedIn exists, they may not have an account. So I have to show them. The case studies that I show would be all about college students, right? And they would be nothing about entrepreneurs, and the entire messaging would change. So like where we deliver the greatest value to clients is like, who exactly do you serve? And sometimes you don't know because you just started your business. So for example, there was a woman I worked with for 6 months this year, very successful. She exited from a startup. She's completely starting something new because this is her passion. She wants to help others. She's starting like a founder accelerator for tech startups. So she went from actually having a SaaS company that sold to schools at scale with like 5 million customers to now basically like a coaching business for startup founders, okay? She didn't know who her customer was going to be because when she came to me, she didn't have her first customer. But what she did know was that we would have to go through at least 3 months of testing. And then we figured out who her customer was within those 3 months. And our gut intuitive feeling was correct at the end, right? So, but what she knew was that she had to get out there. She had to do the content. She had to do the lives. In her case, it wasn't a master class she was leading them to. She was leading them to similar to a challenge. And she knew that she would have to do the work for 90 days for her to get her first 10 paying customers. And then for us to then analyze and audit, okay, who are these people? And it was a clear winner within the first 10. And then she knew who her customer was and doubled down on the messaging, pedal to the metal. So if you don't know who your customer is, that's fine. You just have to be ready for a phase of us basically taking the best 3 guesses of who's most likely to pay for that service with the least level of resistance based on the arena that you want to play in, whether it's B2C or B2B, and then doing the work for 90 days. And us just looking at the data of who pays you. I don't care who says they're going to pay you or who's excited about you starting your business, but actually looking at the first 10 in terms of payment data. Does this make sense? Put yes in the chat if this makes sense. So if you are interested in working one-on-one with me, all you have to do is message me on LinkedIn or email support. And these are the things that we actually do. Are there any other questions? Any questions that I'm missing? There you go. And this is critical because if you're messaging, if you don't master the messaging, the potential risk that you take is that you put in a lot of time, energy, effort, resources into all of this output and potentially not hitting the mark at all because your messaging is for the completely wrong person, or you may think that you're reaching the right person, but it may just take another set of eyes to really be like, you're talking to the completely wrong person here. Right? So I go to networking events and I talk with vendors and manufacturers that are not on LinkedIn and only use their websites to attract customers. Is this program for newsletters? Use them in email instead. So like your newsletters could reach people outside of LinkedIn, but like we would really just have to look at the market. The real question to ask yourself is, are there enough vendors that are actually on LinkedIn that use LinkedIn every day, even if it's 10 that I could acquire, or have partnerships with in the next 6 months? Are there enough on LinkedIn? And the answer to your question is probably yes. Right? But yeah, we could talk about certain little details on the phone. Like, sometimes I talk to like digital marketing companies and they're like, oh, Shanae, I'm pulling teeth. I don't know how to convince my customers that video is important. And it's like, stop working with those customers. Only work with customers who already believe that video is important. And your job becomes 100 times easier. Okay. So, like Andrea put here, we thank you all for joining the 4-day masterclass. I know it's a lot to learn. You have to implement all of it now. That's like the main thing. Is like the biggest difference between people that get the results and people that don't is that, how the percentage of people that execute and that don't just execute, for 3 days when they're excited, but that execute week after week after week. And a year from now, your life could look completely different in the way that you want it to be, in a positive way. So if you're interested in working one-on-one, just email support and we will schedule a consultation and we'll see if we're a good fit, if I think that we could help you and what that would look like. And if you think that you could execute on your own and you just want to make content creation process a little bit easier for yourself, then definitely click on the link at the top, purchase the bundle. It's well worth it and more because you also get 4 weeks of the weekly coaching, the group coaching, and then you also get the AI Mastermind for January. Shanae, I don't know who my clients are. I do have an idea of what to sell based on my experience, but I'm feeling that my long-time executive is maybe... What I suggest, email me or message me on LinkedIn and I'll be able to learn a little bit more on a consultation. Okay? God bless you, everyone. For those of you who purchased the bundle, share your feedback with us. I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to see you in the weekly coaching. And then for those of you who are interested in a consult, just email us, and I look forward to speaking with you. Ciao.